We still encourage folks to, if they could, to have this mentoring committee, and some folks still do that. If they're in particularly in a research-intensive division where it was easy to get folks, or easier to get folks together, some folks still do that, recognize the value in that. And we also started to develop an ongoing mentoring curriculum. And some of the topics that we covered in the last year, I was in the Department of Medicine, were these. We started a new faculty orientation to research. We had an external group come in and do a full-day seminar on how to write grants. We did an interesting session on what is involved in grant writing beyond the science. What are the administrative aspects? Why do you need 2 weeks ahead of the deadline to see my budget? What's the big deal? Why can't I change the numbers at the last minute? Effort reporting. Nobody quite understands why that's so much work, so we tried to explain that. We had our Vice Chair for Education and Faculty Development talk about what it really takes to be promoted and to get tenure. We had some of our well-funded investigators come in and talk about their approaches to maintaining a good research portfolio. And then we talked about how you can use the budget justification to your benefit. Many faculty see this as just something that you try and get through as quickly as possible, but there are ways that you can use that to get a lot of good information to a review panel. So those were some. We have a lot of others in the can ready to go. So based on 1 year's experience, which was all we've got with this one, we had much higher participation. Of the 40 or so faculty, we got the full paperwork on 80 or 90% of them. There were a few that didn't submit. And they got letters too. And their chiefs and chairs got letters saying, we couldn't really assess you because you didn't submit the paperwork, but the members of the committee know something about where your progress is, and here are our concerns. The mentoring review committee was very enthusiastic. We were a little worried that they would see this being a burden, but they really enjoyed doing this. It was something that they saw was useful and beneficial to the faculty, and we were very pleased about that. When folks got their letters, we got a whole bunch of questions. So they noticed. They saw that they were getting feedback. They saw that the feedback was going to the folks in their chain of command. And so there were real questions, a few concerns, but mostly they just wanted to know what we meant. We got some good documentation. All of this is now down in writing. It's in people's files. It will be there at time of promotion and tenure. So this is very useful. And because we had an incoming chair who had to quickly try and digest, where his 300 faculty were, this was extremely valuable summary documents for him that he could take and get a sense for who was doing really well, who did he need to spend some extra time with. So going forward, where does the department go from here? Well, all things change, and virtually everyone who was involved in that process has now left the Department of Medicine. The chair has become the dean, the vice chair for research has become the dean for faculty affairs, and I have moved to the office for research, reporting to the dean for research. So we really don't know what the new chair is going to want to do with this. He has his own philosophies. I'm sure he's going to want to at least tweak it. He may keep it. He may start from ground zero. We don't really know where this is going to go. The curriculum, I think, definitely has a life. Rick and I have already talked with Bill Lowe about continuing this ongoing curriculum and making it available to the entire medical school, because nothing that we talked about in any of those sessions was specific to the Department of Medicine. Equally relevant to all of our faculty. So we definitely want to continue doing this, and we're working on that ways of making that training available in an ongoing manner. So I've rattled on through. I think that's the end of my. Oh no, I've got one more fun slide. Hopefully you've gotten something out of this. Another one of these fun things. The subtext is here is none of us is as dumb as all of us, and hopefully that's not true. And this has been useful, and you'll be able to take something away. So. I think the schedule now is for Rick and I jointly to answer any questions you all might have about theory, practice, and what you all might want to do in your own form.
Thank you, Eric, for sharing your experience. Yes,
yeah.
This is more a comment or an observation. More than ever than before, the greatest asset to acquire is flexibility. Because just in our environment of working in the computers and the amount of changes that are just inundated on us. So your point was perfect. You did all this wonderful work, and then whoop, there's no people. The essence is there. So one thing I wanted to just comment is, and this ties in like holistic, it's really energy. We all have finite amount of energy, and just to know what blocks the flow. And it does make inflexible considering the construction that we have in Chicago, knowing alternate ways to get where you want. What we lose a lot of time is not knowing our gaps. You just know you hit a wall, there's a frustration. And I like the one thing that you said, Dr. McGee, you said have a menu of general things that you need to have, those who are already been before you. Because you know what, there's no secrets in the world. It's all the same stuff. It's just transmitting the universal knowledge for all of us to have it. But we're all busy like in our own rooms. Because one of the essence was, you said it's built on relationship. But we're so busy trying to survive in our own little world, and that's why I think the hardship is an opportunity department. But then I found out it's not our department, it's really medicine, because we were brought up to be individuals and self-sufficient. And to think that one person can do this whole project isn't balanced and harm.
It is, and it's also something that is even amplified or exacerbated because of the whole academic process of review and progression. And it's actually one of the things that the whole academic medical world is really struggling with is terms of attribution of credit. And when you go up for promotion, it's all based on what you have done. And again, if you're working, so it's all built on the individual. And so the whole idea now that NIH finally allows to have even true co-PIs, research grants, well, that's nice, but then the tenure committee looks at, well, this isn't really a real PI, it's a co-PI, so it must not be as important as in the past when someone was a PI. So the whole idea of collaboration that everyone is obviously seeing is so critical, kind of even what do you do with it and how do you assess it, as you go up the line. But I agree, the whole, and even the system is, in some respects, if you look at as people move into from a time of training into all this time, now you're a faculty member, it now moves from support to survival of the fittest. It now moves from an education model to a natural selection model, from the standpoint of, okay, now you're here, you ought to be able to make it on your own, and therefore part of the process is proving you can make it on your own. And it's a subliminal message that people don't talk about, but in some respects it's back there. So now you're getting this tension between saying the survival of the fittest and the acknowledgement mode versus we're saying, no, it's all still about development and learning. And so a lot of these things they're kind of logarithms with each other.